Citymeals on Wheels is a not-for-profit organization providing nutritious food and human company to homebound elderly New Yorkers who are in need. They help them to live, I should say, in dignity with their own familiar homes and communities. And here now to share a little bit more is the executive director of Citymeals on Wheels, Beth Shapiro. And good to have you.
Good to be here. Thank you.
Oh, good to have you, especially during this time of year. I know it's a busy time of year for you.
Very busy. We'll be doing 21,000 meals across the 5 boroughs of the city on Christmas Day.
I became familiar with Meals on Wheels as a youngster. You know, living in public housing, you saw Meals on Wheels come through there quite frequently. Yep. But for people who don't know, share a little bit about City Meals on Wheels.
Sure. So Citymeals partners with the city to make sure older New Yorkers, homebound, too frail to shop or cook for themselves, get a meal every day of the year. So we're delivering weekends, holidays, emergencies, over 2 million meals a year to 18,000 older New Yorkers.
Wow. And the work continues daily. And I mean, you talk about, I said 280,000 meals, and you got 2,677 recipients right here in the borough.
Right here in the Bronx, over 280,000 meals delivered to almost 2,700 older New Yorkers who built this city. You know, we go out on deliveries and meet people all the time. And actually, in Parkchester recently, I was on a meal delivery with a woman. She worked her whole life in the garment district and went blind and can no longer shop or cook for herself. I mean, you can't navigate a grocery store easily blind or even turn on a stove. So the meal coming to the door helps her stay in her home, in her neighborhood, where she wants to be, and she's absolutely in love with her deliverer, Julio. There's a special relationship often between the meal recipient and their deliverer.
And you have a huge stack of volunteers who help to make this happen. Talk about the volunteers.
Volunteers are critical to what we do. Last year we had over 25,000 volunteers, 90,000 hours of time, and on Christmas Day alone we will have over 500 volunteers helping get meals out where they need to go.
Wow, amazing. And so for a volunteer, what's required?
You know, it could be a one-day delivery where you sign up, fill out a form online on our website. It's very easy. Quick orientation, off to deliver meals. And we have programs that are much more involved in that. We have a friendly visiting program really developed to combat isolation. These people are older, they've outlived friends, family, often their own children. So with friendly visiting, we pair a volunteer with a meal recipient, and the volunteer visits weekly.
And there are some, you know, when you think about it, there's some challenges out there, right? I mean, when you talk about the elderly, the challenges continue but you guys not only do meals, you also try to meet those other challenges as well. So talk about partnering up and having that homebound visit, because it makes all the difference in the world.
It makes a huge difference. You know, we're talking about nourishing body and soul, right? So if someone is isolated, alone in their home, they're not connected to the outside world, they get lonely, depressed, leads to poor nutrition. So our volunteer programs, our deliverers who are checking in, you know, even changing a light bulb for someone who can't climb up and change a light bulb, which brings, you know, light to their apartment, is a huge thing as we head into winter with cold weather, making sure people are using their heat. If they have a space heater, that it's, you know, not close to anything, but it's really connectivity. And you know, we're seeing higher and higher incidents of poverty in the older population and the need for food.
And elder hunger is real. I mean, when you think about the amount of elderly that actually go without basic meals simply because lack of resources or just simply not being able to get out of the house.
It's a combination, right? 1 in 10 older New Yorkers is hungry. That's a lot.
1 in 10.
1 in 10. And that, you know, we're seeing growth in poverty in the older old as well. So we're feeding people 80, 90, a few hundred people who are 100 or older. They didn't expect to live this long and didn't plan for it and didn't anticipate the ailments that they have to be, whether it's heart disease or arthritis, to be so debilitating that they, you know, can't care for themselves. And if a simple meal and a quick visit come to the door every day, keeps them where they want to be.
Right. And you also have an emergency meal distribution as well. So if there is an emergency, people can be served.
Absolutely. Right here in Hunts Point, we opened a year ago a warehouse where we do shelf-stable meals, so stuff that can sit on the cupboard. Of the 2 million meals we deliver every year, about a third of those come from the warehouse. We send them out in advance of winter weather, but also for localized emergencies. When there's a snowstorm and a deliverer can't get out, we have boxes there. When there's power outages, we go and make sure that older New Yorkers, whether they're our regular meal recipients or not, have food on the shelves to keep them safe.
How would you describe the change in years? I mean, this year is far worse than last year in many people's estimation. When it talks about homelessness, we talk about poverty.
Yeah.
Here in New York City, you have so many people, but then yet and still you have so many more who still remain in need.
So there's so many in need, and for our population, it's actually older New Yorkers are the fastest growing demographic in the city, also across the country. So by 2040, people 60 and older will outnumber children for the first time in history. So it's almost a tsunami of people coming into this age group that need more than they ever have before. There are higher incidents of poverty, and people need to eat and not be worrying between medicine and food, rent and food. They need to have a place to live and a meal.
What becomes the busiest season for you?
I mean, we're crazy now.
Right.
Right? It's our busiest fundraising season. Volunteer inquiries tend to peak during the holidays, which is great, and we need it. But we also need to know that every day of the year we need volunteers. We were actually just chatting before we came on that there is no more seasonality, right? There's an uptick around now, the holidays, but then it goes down slightly, and the need is always there.
Right.
So we just need to stay busy.
Yeah, with the rising population, I mean, you have the need, and as you said, elders continue to take, the demographics continue to go there. So let's go back again, volunteers, if they want to get more information, what are they doing?
Very easy, citymeals.org. There's a link for volunteering, there's a link to donating. There's also a link to get meals. So if there's someone in need of meals, it's a very simple process as well.
And how are you going about getting your meals? That's a good question that people say, how do they get their meals?
We have 30 meal centers all around the city preparing food every day of the year, making sure food goes out every day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, we want to thank you for the great work that you're doing.
Thank you for having me.
And once again, for the holidays, of course, a lot of big plans. Get connected. We want to tell people you volunteer. You can come on and volunteer. Now, for more information about City Meals, or you want to learn how to volunteer, all you do, as we said, visit the website at citymeals.org, or you can follow them on their Facebook page at City Meals on Wheels. And we're going to take a quick break. We're going to be back with more Open. Stay with us. We're coming right back right after this.